Welcome back in Zolder. It's racing time, and what a fight between Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kiss. We see the lineup right now, and I wish all our spectators now a good time with our commentators. We have Jochen. Sorry for that. We have Jochen Eberts, Ebi Eberts, and we have our English commentator. Have a lot of fun.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. You join me, Jack Werrell, in the commentary box for you to run you through all of the action today and tomorrow, of course. If you are just joining us and you didn't manage to catch qualifying this morning, wow, you missed out on one hell of a battle. It was a really, really close fight between Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn in the final stages of Superpole, and we broke into the 1:56 barrier as well, so the drivers really starting to find their feet around this Zolder circuit. We are, of course, getting ready for race one now, and everybody is working their way onto the grid. The engineers waiting in the wings as well, making sure everything is ready to go for race one. There will be a blank space at the tail end of the order. Heinrich Clementecker will not take to the grid after we saw him retire from qualifying with a turbocharger issue. He pulled over to the right-hand side of the road after the Lucien Bianca bocht, and thanks to the sterling effort of our marshals and circuit staff, they managed to get that truck retrieved safely out of the way and the circuit suitably covered in cement dust before we could go back racing again. So a massive thank you to those guys for getting us back underway as well, those guys and girls I should say as well. It was a very good effort from those guys, and then as soon as we got everybody cleared away, qualifying got back underway and the times only started to fall once again. Superpole, the closest we've ever seen it. The first thing I said today is Superpole is going to be closer than we've ever seen it, and they lived up to that, definitely. And with race one on the way, everybody is as to where they qualified. Race two, I think, will really be the one to watch, because the top 8 finishing positions from race one will be reversed and become the starting positions for race two. So lots to look forward to, and hopefully we will see Clementecker take to the grid. Stefan Faas, fingers crossed, he will be starting this race. If he will be, it will be from the back of the grid. He was on a very quick lap in qualifying one, but he's had an issue. I think it was the engine control unit had an issue, so the ECU has had to be changed or repaired. So he picked up a black flag for that, but hopefully he will be taking to the grid for race one. We saw there Norbert Kish starting on pole position. There he is, number 41 Hungarian for Team Titan. I thought, in fact, he was for Reve's racing team, but there he is in his MAN. Jochen Hahn lining up alongside, only 58,000th of a second away from pole position, so he will be given the outside for turn one. There you can see Sacha Lenz getting into his cockpit. He was around about 0.6 of a second away from our pole sitter, and then another 10th back was Antonio Albertetti. There is the number 55 machine of Adam Lachko for Bagheera Racing in his Freightliner. Fairly good qualifying from Antonio Albertetti. Sorry, that is Adam Lachko in the number 55 machine. Antonio Albertetti is in the MAN alongside. But there is Adam Lachko. Good qualifying from Adam Lachko. There is Christopher.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. Sorry, I forgot your name because I was a little bit confused. But now we are talking about this guy and this truck here, because there's an onboard camera, and we recorded his fastest lap. And back to you, Jack. Sorry for the short delay.
No worries at all, Christopher. And we are looking at the onboard now of Norbert Kish. We do have a great onboard camera turning in towards the left and the right of the Jackie Xbox, and you can see grabs a gear and then on towards the start-finish line now, making a few final adjustments, potentially to cool his brakes, definitely getting temperatures ready and making sure the brakes are at the optimum temperature. Now hugging the pit wall on the right-hand side of your screen, hard on the brakes, flicking it in towards the left, carrying all the momentum you can, piling the lock on that you can get away with, controlling the oversteer, all of the curb on the exit and then back out towards the left-hand side, setting the truck up for the Stadon Voxbocht. And then all of the curb on the entry and on the exit again. There was the flick of oversteer, very well handled through there. Now through Kanalbocht, so just a quick right-hander, potentially just flat out through there, and then in towards the Lucien Bianchi-Bocht. You could see the front of the truck jump down hard on the brakes, turning in towards the right. And now we are going to go back to Christopher.
Of the truck, yeah, that was an amazing qualifying. What was decisive for you? That was an amazing qualifying. What was decisive for you?
Hard to say. I had to do it in my second lap because I had a small mistake in the first lap, in the first try in the Superpole. So, yeah, it was difficult, and it's really tight with Johan. He's very, very close, like 0.05 of a second or something like that. So it's a very small gap. So, yeah, for sure it will be a difficult race. I hope to have a good start, have a good first turn, stay in front, and then, yeah, let's see what happens after that, or, what happens after the red lights goes off, so you never know.
How important was it for you to get this Super Pole?
Yeah, the Super Pole and the pole position is always important for the championship, because it gives you the best opportunity to win the first race. And that's what you need to do in order to have good points in the championship. So qualifying is very, very important.
And what do you think, who will be your hardest opponent in this race?
Yeah, Johan is fast, and Sasha is also usually faster in the race than what he can do in the qualifying, so for sure it will be tight between the three of us.
Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
And back to you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. A very quick word with our pole sitter, Norbert Kisch, and he just expressed how important qualifying is, no matter what circuit you're at. If you start on the front row, you get the preferred line in towards turn one, and Zolder, with it being a left-handed turn one, you do get the inside line, but then it will very quickly evolve to a double right-hander, so that means you're on the outside for 2 corners, make that 3 as well, if you're still side-by-side by the time you get to Lucien Bianchi-Bocht. So we will see. We will see. All is to play for here at Zolder. So it's race 9 of the season, the 3rd race meeting we've had. In theory, it's round 5, but unfortunately, we missed out on 2 weekends at Nürburgring due to the flooding there. But of course, we must say a massive thank you to the One Truck family for helping in the efforts over there. There is the Apollo Tyres sponsored number 17 MAN of Shane Brereton. You can see just the engineering that goes into the tail end of these trucks. A lot of power, 1,200 horsepower and around about 5,500 Newton meters worth of torque, or 4,000 pound-feet. You can see the crowds all getting ready, desperately waiting for the trucks to get underway. There is the Iveco S-Way pace truck waiting at the front of the order. And they have just signed a 3-year extension of its long-standing partnership with Iveco, have the ETRA, so it's great to get them back on board. The transport vehicle manufacturer will also provide a bio-LNG, which is a liquefied natural gas-powered Iveco S-Way, which is the one you can see up at the front of the order. And that will, of course, help in the efforts of having net zero by 2038 by the very latest. So this bio-HVO diesel is 100% renewable. So hopefully bringing a greener side to motorsport. Everybody getting ready. And Christopher, you have somebody else for me.
Yeah, Shane Brereton, hello.
Hello.
Position 8. So a lot of traffic in front of you. What are your expectations?
Well, we're quite confident. We've had a bit of a braking issue which has held us back yesterday. We've resolved it overnight. So we've got to sort of start learning again, really, on the braking points. But yeah, we'll just have to take that first corner careful and see how it pans out.
What do you expect for the first corner? A lot of traffic?
Yeah, I think it'll be busy down into turn 1 and turn 2. I think it'll be quite frantic, and then it will level out a bit.
Not so much traffic when the reverse grid for the second race. You're on place 8 here. So what do you expect for the second race then?
That will be just as frantic, but when you do the reverse grid, it normally makes a very exciting race. So I wouldn't like to take any guess how that'll turn out.
So good luck for the race, and thank you. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. A very calm voice from inside the cockpit of Shane Brereton in the number 17 MAN. So he is looking forward to turn one. He is aware that he's going to be very busy, so hopefully he manages to negotiate his way through there. Like we heard from Christopher, he's starting in 8th place in the TOR Truck Racing MAN. So he's got a lot of traffic to deal with. He's got more trucks in front than behind, so hopefully he will only go forward. There is the official truck of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It is the Ford F-Max. It was the 2019 it won the 2019 International Truck of the Year award. So it is a really brilliant piece of machinery. The F-Max was designed and tested by 500, pardon me, never mind 400, 500 Ford engineers over a 5-year period. And it was tested throughout 11 countries on 4 continents using 233 prototype units. So it's a really great piece of machinery. And Steffi Halm on the grid with Christopher.
Yeah, Steffi Halm, that was for sure a disappointing qualification. What were the problems and are they solved?
I think the biggest problem was the driver, because after we look at the data, and it was just that I was not able to make one fast lap, and the truck was from the setup that it was only possible to make 1 or 2 laps, so I was not able after the first run to make a faster one. So yeah, position 11 is very bad, but I hope we can score some points in the race and maybe go in front to 8.
What are your thoughts now before the race?
At the moment it's very relaxing, you know, because the position is so bad. So it's I'm only focused that we have a good start and maybe gain some positions during the race, and that's all.
Thank you. So we have to hurry. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. Very brief interview there with Steffi Halm, being her biggest critic, I believe, there. Just not 100% happy with her qualifying performance, but like she said, she's very calm, very relaxed, and just looking to go forward now. You can hear a voice in the background shouting 3 minutes, so 3 minutes, rolling, really slowly emptying out. Everybody getting back on the correct side of the pit wall, and the trucks have struck into life. So in a few moments' time, we will be able to bring all the action to you. So by the looks of it, everybody, like I say, working their way to the various gates along the pit wall, getting themselves behind the pit wall securely, and then the trucks will be able to get rolling past the number 11 there of Andre Kersim. So somewhat out of position, I think, for Kersim, sat there in 6th place. We've seen him higher, so hopefully we will get a good result from him. He's currently sat in 10th in the overall championship standings. He's had a win, so he's definitely got that potential there, and if he stays around about 6th, 7th, maybe even 8th place, he will find himself towards the front for race 2. So while it might not be great for race 1, almost take the pain early to get the promise later on. So hopefully Andre Kersim either goes forward in this race or potentially stays where he is to get that good start of race 2. You can see the crowds getting ready, crowds of all ages. It's great stuff to see the crowd being so interactive with motorsport, and hopefully starting another young hobby there. There he is. It's great to see everybody coming together, building a great atmosphere here at Zolder. It happens everywhere we go, and it's going to be an absolutely brilliant race 1. The 1-minute board held up. You can see the track marshals letting everybody know it is time to go. So working their way off the grid once again, the music playing away in the background, building up the tension, ready for race 1. So we've got lots to look forward to. The Iveco S-Way just sat up at the front of affairs, waiting to get going. And you can see the amazing circuit staff and the marshals ready to go as well. Massive thank you to those guys as well. We really wouldn't be able to do it without you. And I cannot stress enough how helpful they really are to allow motorsports to continue. You can see everybody sat waiting patiently, a little bit of heat haze on the camera. So potentially the heat has risen from this morning. It was going to be fairly overcast all day. We've still got a layer of cloud all around the circuit, but thankfully no rain, and potentially the sun might burn through that cloud and the temperatures could only get even hotter. But then that adds in another little bump for the drivers to deal with, because some drivers might be quicker in the warm weather, some drivers might be quicker in the cold, and we are now rolling. So we are on the warming up lap for race 1 of the weekend. Very shortly we will have the on-track action continuing. So the Iveco S-Way pace truck leading the field around on their formation lap. Norbert Kish, the first of the racing trucks in the MAN, alongside Jochen Hahn. And everybody just waiting very patiently. You can see at the tail end of the order, Stefan Faas has made it to the grid. He will be filling the empty slot of Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, who could unfortunately, the mechanics couldn't get that truck prepared for race 1. Hopefully, we've heard that they are working very, very quickly to get the truck out for race 2, and hopefully they do succeed. You can see Luke Garrett at the tail end of affairs as well in his MAN. He shared that truck throughout this season with Tom O'Rourke. But as the formation lap continues, the grid will be with us very, very shortly. It's still Norbert Kish up at the front, Jochen Hahn in second, and Sacha Lenz, as we heard from Norbert Kish, can be very quick in the race, potentially quicker in the race than he is in qualifying. So keep an eye on Sacha Lenz in the number 30 MAN. There we see the official pace truck Iveco S-Way is powered by Bio LNG, like I mentioned earlier. That is a carbon neutral fuel, and it is a liquefied natural gas. It is Bio LNG, so it's 100% renewable as well. So a very eco-friendly truck, and hopefully we're at a net zero by the very latest 2038. Hopefully bringing a greener side to motorsport, which is of course brilliant, not only for the motorsport but for the world as well. And we can still all have fun while doing so. So it's Norbert Kish leading the way, Jochen Hahn alongside. Row 2 of the grid is Sacha Lenz and Antonio Alberthetti. Row 3 is Adam Lachko with Andre Kursim for company. René Reina has Shane Brereton alongside on row 4 with Theo Calve and Jamie Anderson 9th and 10th. And it's Steffi Halm, Alia Kolok in 12th. Then it's Luis Riquenco, one of the newer drivers to the series, with Luke Garrett. Then the empty space of Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, and then Stefan Faas in his newly repaired truck with an ECU issue this morning, where he went straight on at the corner we're arriving at now, the Boulderberg box, very late on the brakes, started braking sideways, and unfortunately couldn't get the truck slowed down. You can see the Iveco S-Way really being pushed to its limits on this outlap, but everybody working forward. There is the grid, Norbert Kish at the top. You can see the qualifying times posted on the right hand side of your screen. Norbert Kish followed by Jochen Hahn, then Sacha Lenz and Antonio Alberthetti. Adam Lachko starting in 5th place. 6th is Andre Kursim with René Reina and Shane Brereton on row 4. Then it's Theo Calvert with Jamie Anderson for company on row 5 of the grid. 2 Freightliners in the top 10 as well. So in a few moments time we will be going racing here at Zolder. So round 5, race 9 of this season will very shortly be underway. So it's Norbert Kish leading them through the Jackie X box with Jochen Hahn alongside. Race 9 of the season, the 3rd race meeting here at Zolder in a few moments time will be away. You can see Norbert Kish slowing everybody up, waiting for the lights to go out, which they do now. And we are green here at Zolder for race 1 of the weekend. Race 9 of the season is Norbert Kish on the right-hand side of your screen, Jochen Hahn on the left. A little bit of door-to-door contact as they go through turn 1. Norbert Kish manages to fend off any further attentions. He's still leading the way with Jochen Hahn pushing him through turn 1, heading up towards turn 2. That is the number 29 machine of Alia Kolok, very, very sideways and skittery through the gravel. He does continue on without too much of an issue, and it looks like Luis Riquenco potentially running out of a little bit of real estate on the outside, but it's still Norbert Kish leading the way from Jochen Hahn, and then Sacha Lenz still rotating around the trucks behind. And I think just taking it rather conservatively is Stefan Faas, hoping that there won't be any further issues. But there is Norbert Kish still leading from Jochen Hahn, still with Sacha Lenz just behind. We'll wait to see who is in 4th place. It is Antonio Alberthetti just about. Then we get back to Adam Lachko in the number 55 Bagheera Freightliner. Everybody else comes rattling through. There is Stefan Faas picking up a place there. So he's no longer towards the tail end of the order. I think potentially catching out Luke Garrett in Sector 1. So Quiche up at the front. Everybody else just working their way through Sectors 2 and 3. There's no real need to start pushing forward as of yet. It's a fairly long race, 12 laps, and it's 2 minutes a lap. So we're looking at around about a 24-minute race at this point. So still plenty of time for drivers to work forward. You can see there Jamie Anderson trying to work his way past one of the Bagheera Freightliners. Riding on board now with Norbert Quiche, the number 41 machine, turning in towards the left and the right. Jackie Xbox now in towards the right, bouncing over the curbs. Got to be careful not to hit that bollard because the race stewards will be looking at you for potentially a track limits infringement. Now we see the windshield wipers working away, so there clearly is rain out there. Potentially it's just a wet track kicking up some spray, or it could be rain in the air. There is a number 11 machine of Andre Kursim with his lights ablaze as well, but look at that gap that Norbert Quiche has already got as he crossed the line last time through. He's already 1.5 seconds clear. Then it was Sacha Lenz just half a second back from Hahn. Here's the replay of the number 29 of Alia Kolok bouncing over the gravel and just over pit exit, and 3 wide for a brief moment there, heading in towards Stadon Voxbocht. But everybody managed to continue on. Gravel being kicked up in the distance at the exit of Lucien Bianchi Bocht. It's still Norbert Quiche leading the way from Stefan Hahn. Then Sacha Lenz just behind. And we've still got the number 23 of Antonio Albacete. There is Sacha Lenz, knocking on the door of second place at the moment. Stefan Faas has picked up another place. He's managed to pick off the number 64 MAN of Luis Frequenco. So up into 13th place respectively now. Here's Norbert Quiche still pushing forward. Everybody with the windscreen wipers working away. There is Andre Kursim under pressure from Rene Reina. In between a pair of those two. Looks like it could be Shane Brereton in a few moments' time because he is working forward as well. Back down towards Boulderberg Bocht. Norbert Quiche throws it in towards the right-hander. Getting ever closer, I fear, is Sacha Lenz to the tail end of Jochen Hahn. So that battle could evolve in the coming laps. Antonio Albacete still sat there in 4th place. Then it's Adam Lachko in 5th. And then the number 11 machine of Andre Kursim under ever-increasing pressure from the number 77 of Rene Reina in 6th and 7th place. Then we get back to Shane Brereton in 8th. And 9th is the number 20 of Theo Calvé and the number 33 of Jamie Anderson rounds out your top 10. But on to the second lap of the race now. Norbert Quiche through turn 1 and then heading in towards turn 2. All of the circuit being used. It's a lot of weight to carry around. The minimum weight 5.3 tons, and to negotiate all of Zolder with 5.3 tons, well over 1,000 horsepower and over 5,000 Newton meters of torque, or 4,000 pound-feet, depending on which term you use. That's a lot of driving talent, somehow managing to negotiate their way around what is going to be an ever-increasingly wet Zolder as well. You can still see a few of the windscreen wipers working away. The number 30 of Sacha Lenz with his wiper on constantly, potentially picking up a little bit of spray from the cars in front, the trucks in front, pardon me. You can see the rain on the camera lens there, heading through the Klein chicane. Under the bridge we go, back down towards the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. Sacha Lenz has lost a little bit of time to Jochen Hahn, and he's now coming under pressure from Antonio Albacete in the number 23 MAN. And if we look further back, we can see the number 33 of Jamie Anderson coming under pressure from Steffi Halm in her Iveco as well. That is the battle for 10th place. Steffi Halm said she wanted to work her way forward, so hopefully she'll be able to do that and potentially get herself on race 2 pole with, of course, the top 8 reversed. So Stefan Faas still sat there in 13th place, looking to work his way forward. The next target for him will be Kolok, Alia Kolok in the number 29 Freightliner. She has had a fairly good race so far, but still looking to work forward. She's trying to catch onto the tail ends of Shane Brereton, but when you've got Stefan Faas hot on your heels, it's going to be very, very difficult to not look in your rearview mirror. You can see the gaps on the left-hand side only increasing now. Norbert Quiche 2.6 seconds to the good. He crosses the line now, has the gap yet further extended. We'll wait for the timing tower to update. Still 2.6 seconds. 2 seconds back there from Jochen Hahn is Sacha Lenz. And then around about the second back there is Antonio Albacete. So he is getting closer. You can see there Jamie Anderson slowly coming under pressure from Steffi Helm. I think potentially those two have traded places on the lap prior. There is Anderson through turn 1. So Anderson in 10th place, looking to work his way forward and catch onto the coattails of the number 20 of Teo Calvet, while not being distracted by Steffi Helm in his rear view mirror. Here comes the battle now. This is the battle for what is in theory 9th place. So it's Freightliner leading MAN, leading Iveco. Is the number 86 machine of Luke Garrett, still trying to work his way forward. Trucks with wipers still on. Steffi Helm a little look to the inside of Jamie Anderson, but nothing happened just as yet. They're still nose to tail, so it's 3 trucks for 9th place as it stands. Still being led by Teo Calvet. And then we do have Jamie Anderson riding on board. One of the trucks we do have the onboard cameras with this weekend. You can see just how thick the water is getting on that windscreen. Of course, this section of the windscreen not being the part that is affected by the wiper. But it just shows you how wet the circuit is getting. So hot on the heels of the number 20 of Teo Calvet in the Bagheera Freightliner, pushing forward. You can tell it's Teo Calvet, 1 because he's number 20, but 2 because of the blue flashes. He has the blue 5th wheel and the blue wing mirrors, as well as I think the headlight covers as well. That is the way to pick between the Bagheera Freightliners. Jamie Anderson still pushing forward, trying to work his way into 9th place, and then after that he will have to work his way forward onto Shane Brereton, because that will get him race 2 pole at the moment. As it stands, Shane Brereton will be on pole position for race 2. There is Stefan Faas at the moment. He has managed to work his way up another position, I think. Yes, he has. That was Elia Kolog with a little bit of damage on her truck, on towards the right-hand side, I think. Yeah, a little bit of damage at the bottom as well, so potentially some curb or some gravel usage there. Hopefully no contact between the pair of them. But Stefan Faas up yet another position, up into 12th place, still working his way forward. Kolok coming under pressure from Riquenco as well in the background. So that will be the battle for 13th place. Still Keish leading the way, 3.1 seconds to the good. Hahn with another 2 seconds back of Lenz. Albacete not too far back, if I'm honest, just over a second, around about 1.2 seconds between 3rd and 4th. So the podium's still up for grabs as of yet. There is the number 20 going defensive, so Teo Calvet having to be really careful on the way in towards the Klein chicane. Make sure that he doesn't give Jamie Anderson any room. The big winner out of all of this is potentially Steffi Helm, because she can watch the pair of them battle up the road and then decide what she's going to do about it. Jamie Anderson now with a little bit of overspeed heading in towards the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. He'll have to be very late on the brakes if he wants to make a move here. Nope, he decides just to tuck in behind, over the curbs on the right, over the curbs on the left once again. Steffi Helm still watching and waiting in the wings. Jamie Anderson all over the coattails of Teo Calvet and that Bagheera Freightliner. So positions to be made. Shane does have to, has had to give the position back to Teo Calvet, otherwise he would have got a penalty. So Shane Brereton up the road is up in, where is he at the moment? Shane Brereton in 8th place with quite a sizable gap. 3 seconds in front of Teo Calvet is Shane Brereton. So he's got to get rid of that 3-second gap, give the position back to Teo Calvet, and then make sure he doesn't lose another position to Jamie Anderson. So there's lots to think about in that number 17 MAN machine. There is the black and white warning flag available, viewable to all of the drivers, letting the drivers know that one of them has got a penalty. And when you see that, you've just got to keep your fingers crossed. As long as you've driven it cleanly, it isn't you. But in this case, it is Shane Brereton who has picked up the black and white warning flag. He will be on the team on the radio to the team. Very sideways through Canal Bocht was Jamie Anderson. Managed to get the moment collected up, but it just shows potentially how slippery the curbs are becoming as the water dissipates from the circuit and gets flung onto the curbs. You can see at the bottom of your screen, 100% renewable HVO diesel powers all the race trucks. So an effort to make racing a greener place, and it's definitely working. So it's great to see that we are using 100% renewable energy, renewable HVO diesel here at the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, hoping to get net zero by 2038 and completely carbon neutral. There is the number 20 of Teo Calvé, still under pressure from Jamie Anderson, with Steffi Helm just sat behind. Then we get back to Stefan Fast, still following along. So it's, at the moment, 3 trucks for 9th place. In a couple of moments, it could be 4 trucks for 9th place. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen, Teo Calvé and Jamie Anderson. So the low on power, number 33 MAN, trying to work his way forward at the moment. But we've still got to remember that Shane Brereton has to give that position back to Teo Calvé. On the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the gap has actually come out from the 3 seconds to around about 3.5 seconds now. So he definitely has to lose this time to hand it back and potentially lose another position to Jamie Anderson while doing so. 6 laps of the race completed. Norbert Kish, 4.3 seconds to the good at the moment. And it's still Sasha Lenz sat there in 3rd place. Within a second now is Antonio Alberthetti. So the final step on the podium still up for grabs as it stands. Potentially 3rd place could be changing in the coming laps. Waiting as well in 5th place is the number 55 of Adam Lachko. So he could still be there. And now Steffi Helm, the attention has gone from attack to defend, because Stefan Fast sat really close behind her now, really looking to work his way forward. And that will be for 11th place. Steffi Helm wanting to work her way forward, as we heard in the pre-race interview. Very, very wide there through Lucien Bianchi box. He'll have to be careful not to annoy the race stewards for a track limits infringement there, Jamie Anderson. Almost half the truck in towards the gravel, so I'm sure that will pique the attentions of race control. So it's now 4 trucks for 9th place. So at the moment it's Teo Calvé trying to fend off Jamie Anderson, then Steffi Helm and Stefan Fast, all sat nose to tail, going into the Gilles Villeneuve chicane, battling away. Halfway through the race now, still Kish leading the way from Hahn, then it's Sasha Lenz. The current podium as it stands, but Alberthetti really starting to put the pressure on the 3rd place driver of Sasha Lenz, riding on board with Jamie Anderson once again. The MAN losing a little bit of ground to Teo Calvé, potentially watching his rear view mirrors, because Steffi Helm, she will have seen that Stefan Fast is working forward and she's thinking, right, I really need to get a move on now. And that could have potentially distracted Jamie Anderson a little bit. And of course, with that mistake through Lucien Bianchi box, he will have lost a little bit of time there as well. Shane Brereton still pulling away from Calvé, and if the information I've been fed is correct, he still needs to give back that position. Now 4 seconds the gap between the pair of them, and we saw the black and white warning flag, so we should have seen it. And with the driver's radios, he should have heard it as well. Crossing the line once again, now almost up to 5 seconds the lead gap from Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn. Jochen Hahn struggling to keep touch with our championship leader. Sasha Lenz, 3rd place in the championship at the moment, only 3 points adrift of Norbert Kish. However, that lead gap, if everything stays as it is only going to yet further extend, because Sasha Lenz sat there in 3rd place, 8.8 seconds behind our leader now, and just about within a second there or thereabouts is Antonio Alberthetti once again. So Antonio Alberthetti really getting close to 3rd place, all through the gravel, all through the grass. Very, very sideways was Stefan Fast there in his Tank Pool 24 Racing Scania. Overspeed, there was a warning there. I couldn't quite pick out who it was, but somebody evidently overspeeding, breaching the 160 km/h or 100 mph, whichever term you use, speed limit. Of course, the trucks are limited to 100 mph for safety as well, of course. And it's great to see just how close that has allowed these races to get. And now the number 29, Aliyah Kolok, has already got 2 warnings for track limits. So has the number 24 of Stefan Fast, and I've got a feeling that will be another very, very sideways through the gravel on the exit of Lucien Bianchi box. And that is definitely not what you want to be doing. Yes, he won't have gained an advantage from that, but it's almost classed as reckless driving. Over the line once again goes Norbert Kish in the number 41 machine for Rivesh Racing Team. And then heading through Sturden Voxbocht and Kanalbocht in a few moments' time, still ahead of Stefan Hahn, and still Jochen Hahn, pardon me, still pulling away. Jochen Hahn 5.4 seconds adrift now, and 10 seconds away from our leader is the number 30 machine of Sascha Lenz. So losing more and more ground. I don't potentially think that means the drivers behind are slow. I just think it means that Norbert Kish is really, really on it here at Zolder this afternoon. And if he is still pulling away to the tune of, what, 1 second a lap, maybe even half a second a lap, if he has a slow lap of all things from Norbert Kish, he's still going to remain in the lead towards the tail end of the race. In theory, he could afford to lift off and lose a couple of seconds here and there. There's no real reason to keep pushing forward. There is a penalty for the number 1 machine, currently in second place. That's Jochen Hahn, sat there in second place. We saw the message come up a little earlier on, a 10-second time penalty for overspeeding. So, like we said, breaching that 160 km/h speed limit. So as it stands, let's have a quick look. That will put him in net 5th place, so it will promote Sascha Lenz up into 3rd, with Antonio Albacete in 4th, and Adam Lachko, or Antonio Albacete will work his way from 4th to 3rd, and Lachko from 5th to 4th. That's if everything stays as it is. We've still got 4 laps of the race remaining, so there's still potentially time for Jochen Hahn to really put the pedal to the metal and work his way slightly further away from the trucks behind and minimise the damage that 10-second penalty will cause. But it's very difficult when you've got the hard-charging Sascha Lenz and Antonio Albacete and Adam Lachko all behind, working their way forward as well. So on the 9th lap of the race, windows down for Jochen Hahn, evidently getting rather toasty in the cockpit. There is Norbert Kish on the exit of Kanalbocht, and then heading in towards Lucien Bianchi box. We've seen a lot of action through what is turn 4. We've had we had Henrik Clementecker with the turbo issue. You can see the cement dust on the right-hand side of the circuit there. Well, he retired from qualifying, and sadly he couldn't get out for race 1, but hopefully he gets out for race 2. Jochen Hahn in the back of his head now, he's only going to be thinking about, I've got this penalty, I need to work my way forward. So 5.8 seconds adrift of our leader now. Then in 3rd place we have Sascha Lenz, with Antonio Albacete getting ever closer. And then we also have Adam Lachko in the number 55 Bagheera Freightliner, just sat behind. Adam Lachko, the Freightliner with the yellow flashes, so he has the yellow 5th wheel, wing mirrors and headlight covers, in towards Boulderberg-Bocht, hard on the brakes, down in towards the apex on the right. A slight bit of camber here, not too much to really worry about. But there goes Jochen Hahn, and then we get the 3-truck battle for 3rd place. So this is the battle for the final step on the podium between Sascha Lenz, Antonio Albacete and Adam Lachko. Then we get quite a sizable gap back to Andre Curzim, following along with René Reiner and Shane Brereton. The incident between the number 17 and the number 20 machine is under investigation. The 17 being Shane Brereton and the 20 being Teo Calvert. We saw the black and white warning flag out a little earlier on. There is one of the bollards. It's there to denote what part of the circuit you can and can't use, and half of it has been chopped off. So I've got a feeling somebody has found the limit of the track limits. I'm sure race control will be looking into that. There is the number 77 of René Reiner in the Iveco, trying to fend off the attentions of Shane Brereton with damage on the right-hand side of his MAN. So potentially that's where Shane Brereton had a little bit of a knock with Teo Calvert in the Bagheera Freightliner. So it is under investigation. Race control are looking at it. If it said race control have noted it, it just means they're noted and they'll probably look at it at the end of the race. But with only 2 laps remaining, they've got to be pretty sharpish if they're going to do something about it during the race. But then, of course, the results we get at the end will only be provisional. They will still be down to any further changes from race control. As it stands, Brereton is sat there in 8th place. We do have Luis Riquenco in the pit lane, sat stationary as well. The door open, mechanics chatting away, and the MAN I don't think will play any further part in this race. So that means Rikwenko is now down in 15th place. That has put Luke Garrett up into 14th. But there is the number 77 machine, René Reina, still trying to fend off the attentions of Shane Brereton just behind. So it's Iveco versus MAN. There is Andre Kurzim, just a few seconds up the road. We've still got Norbert Kisch leading the way, 6.6 seconds ahead of Jochen Hahn. And it's Sacha Lenz, Antonio Albertetti and Adam Lachko all battling away for the final step on the podium. There is Jamie Anderson under ever-increasing pressure from Stefan Faas. And then we see Alia Kolok working her way past the camera with Luke Garrett in tow, trying to pick up 13th place on the road. So onto the 11th lap of the race, and it's still Norbert Kisch leading the way in that number 41 machine. You can see we are on lap 11. 6.3 seconds to the good at the moment. That's around about half a second a lap he has managed to pull out on the trucks behind, maybe just a little bit more as well. But Jochen Hahn with that time penalty to think about, still with Sacha Lenz, and we are hearing that Shane Brereton in that number 17 machine, even after being instructed by race control to give back the position to Alia Kolok, it won't be, or to Théo Calvet, sorry, it won't be, because it wasn't given back within a certain amount of time. It does mean that Shane Brereton will have a 10-second time penalty. I think we saw there on the bottom of our screens, just as I was looking at the timing screen, Jochen Hahn potentially with a drive-through penalty, because he already had to think about a 10-second penalty for overspeeding. And going on to the final couple of laps of the race, if he's got a drive-through to think about as well, it will really drop him back down the order. There is Sacha Lenz. A big look up the inside there from Adam Lachko. Did he get the position made? I'm not 100% sure, but let's see towards the tail end of that camera angle, and luckily we couldn't see it, but on towards the final lap we go now. Norbert Kisch in the number 41 MAN, heading across the timing line now, and it is in fact the checkered flag, so Norbert Kisch does take the win here. Race 9 of the season goes to Norbert Kisch, and then we have Stefan Hahn crossing the line in second place. Yet it will obviously be changed around due to the time penalties. And then Sacha Lenz takes third place on the road, potentially second place. And it does mean that due to the steward's inquiries around Jochen Hahn, it could mean that Antonio Albertetti does take to the podium. Adam Lachko finishes in 5th. And then we have Andre Kurzim sat there in 6th place, and René Reina takes 7th place, winning the Chrome class on the road, but still under steward's inquiries and various little bits, was Shane Brereton. Depending on what happens with Shane, it could mean that Théo Calvet does take the win in the Chrome class. And then Steffi Halm finished in 10th place, so a good race for Steffi. And potentially, with a few changes of position, it could end up becoming 9th place, and it could also gift Théo Calvet the reverse grid pole. So race 2 of the day, the top 8 are reversed, and that does produce your grid for race 2. So I'm sure we will see the grid as and when the time comes. Race 2 supposed to start around about what will be 4 o'clock local time, maybe a little bit later than that. And it will be 3 o'clock if you are watching in the UK. But you can see, after what was a brilliant race from Norbert Kisch, he worked his way forward, made sure there was no real pressure from behind, and then just drove his own race, kept it in between the track limits, made sure he stayed clear of any penalties. And it does mean that he will take to the top step of the podium. The second step, still up in the air. I've got a feeling it will be Sacha Lenz taking the second step of the podium, with Antonio Albertetti joining him there in the number 23 MAN. But race 1 of the weekend completed, and what a race it was. Very, very close battles throughout. 3rd place, still not 100% sure who will have got that, because on my timing screen it still says Sacha Lenz, but I do potentially think it will be Antonio Albertetti. So after a hard battle for 3rd place, that was great to watch. And then, of course, we saw the battle between Jamie Anderson and I think Stefan Fast was in on that one, as well as Teo Calvet, who was trying to keep onto the coattails of Shane Brereton after what we think was potentially a rather crude overtake, which caused him to get a slap on the wrist from the race control. You can see a bollard being retrieved there from one of our wonderful marshals, and a little bit of bodywork. I can't quite pick out what truck that will be off, but I suspect the bollard will be handed in, as well as the piece of bodywork, and race control walk around the paddock, and they will find out which truck is missing that certain piece of bodywork and go, right, you've taken one of our bollards, we'll have that back, thank you very much. And I'm sure that will be another slap on the wrist. Race control potentially rather busy at the end of this race, but a brilliant race nonetheless, and Norbert Kish, a dominant win. You can see everybody just on their way down towards the Jackie X-Box. Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn in the pit lane now, and ready to take to the podium. There is the winner's board, and here is Norbert Kish to take to the podium. Horns ablaze, and you can see everybody in the background are more than happy to congratulate him on that win. And we'll keep an eye out for Jochen Hahn, who has driven past the podium parking area. So I do believe that is Sacha Lenz taking second place and Antonio Alberthetti rounding out your podium. It will be confirmed in a few moments' time as and when we see the other trucks arrive. But Norbert Kish, undisputably, to take to the top step. There is the number 23 of Antonio Alberthetti taking to the third place board. So it does now mean Norbert Kish will take to the top step of the podium undoubtedly, but it is Sacha Lenz taking second place and Antonio Alberthetti taking third. So a great race all around. And you can see there is the Iveco S-Way pace truck sat at the end of the pit lane, and everybody works their way background. If they're not on the podium, they work their way back in towards the paddock area through that little escape road, and then in towards what will be Parc Fermé to make sure the trucks are, of course, legal and of the minimum weight for that race. A great performance from everybody involved, and I'm sure the crowd are absolutely loving it. There is the number 30 machine of Sacha Lenz. He crossed the line in third, but I think he already knows what that means. Yes, there we go. He's pulled in second place. Thanks his mechanic. He's really, really happy with that. So great stuff to see. Sacha Lenz finishing in second place, which means Norbert Kish, championship leader, finishes first. Sacha Lenz, championship second place, finishes in second. So that only means that the championship rivalry gets closer and closer and closer. There is Norbert Kish, really, really chuffed with himself, and the team happy to congratulate him as well. And I'm sure we will end up with an interview very shortly, but a very well-driven race from our number 41 of Norbert Kish. Very, very busy pit lane now indeed as well. And info from race control, Brereton will be getting that 10-second penalty. So Shane Brereton, after crossing the line in 8th place, if we take 10 seconds away, that will drop him down into what I think is 12th place. So Stefan Fast, Jamie Anderson and Steffi Helm and Teo Calvet will all be bumped up a position from there. And you can see in the background the number 20 of Teo Calvet will have won the Chrome class, of course, because Shane Brereton was the leader of the Chrome class, crossed the line to win the Chrome class. But then with that 10-second penalty, it does mean that Teo Calvet will have won the Chrome class today in race 1. Jamie Anderson will take second place, and Stefan Fast, after a incident in qualifying, of course, with the ECU issue, he took to the grid towards the tail end, and he's worked his way onto the podium. So third place for Stefan Fast. A very, very, very well-driven race from him. Worked his way forward. You can see the complexity there of the engineering on these trucks. And Norbert Kish, I believe we have down in the pit lane. Down to you, Christopher.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was dominating. It looks very easy. Was it very easy?
No, it wasn't. You know, there's never an easy race. The start was not the best, and Johan was on the outside of me, and Sasha was really close behind me. So the first turn was really difficult to make it through, and you know, not to make any mistakes. But yeah, it worked, and I had to defend a little bit against Johan in turn 2, but it was also working. And then I started to have a little bit of a gap. And then I was looking in the mirror all the time that where is Johan, but he was very close. But obviously I think he had this overspeed problem. So probably then he started to be more safe, and then the gap was bigger. So in the second half of the race I could take it easy a little bit as well. But yeah, the start and the first couple of laps was really difficult. So, but I'm really happy for the team, for the guys, because they work so hard, you know, and now the season is going so quickly, like race every second weekend. So they put in a lot of work so that we can be here and win these races. So thank you, Race Racing.
Yeah, congratulations. Your explanation why you are so dominating?
You know, I can't really say. You know, we just you know, try to develop the track in the way we think it's right, what I like. We try to build on our strengths, and you know, make the most of the free practices, find a good setup, you know, practice a lot, you know, do many laps. For me as a driver, it's important to do many laps so that I know the braking points, you know, and the turning points, and you know what to do on the circuit, because ZOLDER is a very difficult circuit, you know, with these hard braking zones and these chicanes. It's really difficult with the racetrack. So yeah, you know, it's work, practice, things like that, you know, I don't know.
The expectations for the second race today?
Yeah, second race is always difficult, you know, because now I think we will have to start from the 8th position, and the second race is always a little bit crazy, and a lot of things can happen. So yeah, just again for the championship I have to watch out for Sasha, so that I can stay close to Sasha and stay out of the crashes if anything happens.
We wish good luck and congratulations again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
So a quick interview there from Norbert Kish. Very well driven, and now you can see the results from race 1 of the weekend, race 9 of the season. Norbert Kish wins that race with a 23-minute 41 second race time. Sacha Lenz takes to the second step of the podium, 10 seconds drift, of course, with Jochen Hahn's penalty. Antonio Albertetti rounds out your podium. Then it's Adam Lachko and Andre Kersim rounding out your top 5. Then it's René Reiner, Teo Calve, Steffi Halm, Jamie Anderson and Stefan Faas rounding out your top 10. A really good comeback drive from Stefan Faas after the issues in qualifying. 11th is Shane Brereton. Jochen Hahn finds himself right the way down in 12th place. Then it's Alia Kolok, Luke Garrett and Luis Renquenco, with the early retirement. So annoyingly, he couldn't take to the checkered flag. I do believe we do have the driver's ceremony taking place in just a few moments' time. You can see the circuit vehicles sat there on display. There is Norbert Kish working his way up on towards the podium. The podium placed trucks working their way back towards the paddock as well. And in a few moments' time, we will have the driver's ceremony and the podiums for both the Titan class and the Chrome class. So we've got those to look forward to as well. We do have another race today, but all that is to come. Here is the podium. So taking to the third step of the podium is Antonio Albertetti. Great stuff from Antonio. He takes third place in this race. And then we have Sacha Lenz taking to the podium as well, with another little helper. Sacha Lenz taking to the second step of the podium, and race winner from race 1 of the weekend, it's Norbert Kish. Very well done, Norbert, very well driven, and to the top step of the podium he goes. And now it is time for the national anthem of the winning driver.
Gentlemen, show your trophies, please.
So that was the national anthem there of Norbert Kish, the Hungarian national anthem, and everybody on the podium making sure they're getting ready for the photographs, raising their trophies aloft. Norbert Kish delighted with that race win. Sacha Lenz on the podium as well, alongside with Antonio Albacete, with somewhat of an unexpected podium, takes third place. Great stuff from all three drivers. And whether we're going to get champagne sprayed in a few moments' time, I don't know. Still time for photos. And I do think we are indeed. So the little helper shown away, and as the champagne bottles are opened, everybody around is going to get rather wet at the moment. There we go. You can see everybody celebrating. Norbert Kish really happy with that one. And Sacha Lenz in second place. Antonio Albacete with a great third place, and just congratulating each other now. Really well done to all three drivers. That is your podium overall and for the Titan class as well. In a few moments' time, we will have the Chrome class as well. Just a few more photo opportunities for the media. And then the Chrome podium will take place in just a few moments' time. Brereton was due to be on the top step of the podium, but having ignored the race control's instructions, he has lost the podium, I believe, finishing a little further down the order than expected. But you can see everybody getting readied for the second podium. The media all there and ready. Just a quick swap of the flags and making sure everyone is there and ready. And you can see, while the flags are getting changed, the drivers are getting readied as well. And in just a few moments' time, we will have the Chrome class podium. Thank you very much, of course, to the circuit staff and the marshals for allowing us to operate in such a timely manner. You can hear the support races going off in the background. So while the circuit staff are busy fixing the podium and making sure everything is all set and ready for the Chrome class, they're also very busy with the running of the support races as well. So thank you very much to everybody involved at ZOLDER and at the FIA for allowing us to work in such a timely manner. There you can see the winner's trophy, and Stefan Faas takes to the podium to finish in third place. Very well done from Stefan Faas. After the qualifying issues, he still managed to get out there and get a podium. Jamie Anderson takes to the second step of the podium. And then it's Teo Calve to take the win in the Chrome class. After a little bit of argy-bargy, I think, with Shane Brereton, it all comes to pay back to him. Does take to the top step of the podium. Great stuff from Teo Calve. And then it's now time for the national anthem of the winning driver. There was the national anthem of Teo Calve, French national anthem. Very well driven from the Vigera Racing Freightliner. Trophies raised aloft once again. Media given the opportunity to take photos. And then they're instructed they are allowed to change their hat if they so wish. And now it is time for the celebrations and the champagne. Of course, the champagne bottles opened and champagne sprayed in towards the crowd and towards the team members. Corks popped and the champagne sprayed well and truly everywhere. Better performance there from the Chrome drivers, I think, than the Pro drivers. And in a few moments' time, we will have some highlights for you from race one. And it will be my pleasure to run you through those. Trophies and champagne taken away. But here we go. Here are the highlights. Race one got underway earlier on. It was Norbert Kish who led from lights to flag. You can see from pole position, had a little bit of pressure on the way up towards turn one, but didn't really allow it to phase him as long as he got in front of Jochen Hahn at the start. there you go, nice and easy. Worked his way forward and didn't change his position from there. Jochen Hahn sat there in second place. The number 29 machine of Alia Kolok very, very sideways all over the gravel at turn 1 on lap 1, but managed to rejoin safely and didn't have any further issues. But working our way slightly deeper into the race, you can see just how quickly that gap really started to open. Sasha Lenz sat there in second place, but all the battles were behind. It only got closer and closer and closer for third place. In the background, though, you can see René Reiner under ever-increasing pressure from Shane Brereton, and it was like that all the way through the race. Jamie Anderson also had a great little battle with Alia Kolok as the race wore on as well. You can see it there. Alia Kolok, Jamie Anderson and Steffi Harm all nose to tail, then followed by a couple of the other trucks as well. The number 64 of Luis Riquenco, one of the ones noted actually there. Of course, he had to retire slightly later on due to an electrical issue. There is the number 20 of Teo Calvé under ever-increasing pressure from Jamie Anderson. Steffi Halm sat behind, and you can see just in the background there, Stefan Faas working his way forward. There is the black and white warning flag. That one showed for Shane Brereton. Stefan Faas continued working his way forward, very quickly got onto the coattails of Steffi Harm, but couldn't quite do much about it towards the latter stages of the race. They got closer and closer and closer, and then towards the tail end of the race, we did start to see it hot up just a little bit more. It went from 4 trucks racing nose to tail to a pair of 2s. The number 20 machine, Teo Calvé, still fending off Jamie Anderson, but a dent put in Stefan Faas's inroads of Steffi Harm as he ran very, very wide on the exit of Lucien Bianchi box for what was the third time after receiving a couple of warnings already. The number 41 machine, Norbert Kisch, up at the top end of affairs, just drove his race, kept it in between the track limits, and all he did was drive that to the line. The number 77 of René Reiner under even more pressure from Shane Brereton after what was a rather frowned upon overtake from Teo Calvé, which eventually came back to bite him, and he did get that penalty, annoyingly losing the podium. But Teo Calvé did take to the top step of the podium. There is Norbert Kisch coming towards the line for what was the final time, and to take the win of race 1 this weekend, race 9 of the season. Jochen Hahn, while he finished second on the road, he finished right the way down in what was 11th place in the end. You can see fans, marshals, circuit staff all had a brilliant time during that race, but Norbert Kisch, the eventual victor, took to the top step of the podium, not only in the Titan class, but the race overall as well. Sasha Lenz finished in third, and Antonio Albacete rounded out your pro podium. So a great race from everybody involved, and Norbert Kisch very well driven indeed. It will mean that he starts in 8th place for race 2 later on, but thank you very much for watching along, and from myself, bye-bye.
Yeah, the winner of the Goodyear Cup, Teo Calvé, congratulations. What are your thoughts about your race?
Yeah, it was not a bad race. I'm very happy. I finished at the 7th position, so I think it's not bad. I won the Goodyear Cup. I take a lot of points for the championship, so I think it's very good. I'm happy.
Good to hear that. What's about the fight between Shane Brereton and you?
Yeah, it was quite difficult, because we have few problems on the truck, and we have to solve it. But yeah, it was a hard battle. Shane took a little space to me, but I survived and I finished 7th. He was penalized, so I was in front of him. So I start on the 2nd position for the race 2, and that's cool. The front row here in Zolder, I think it's important.
How proud are you about this cup and about your win today?
Yeah, I'm very happy. Like I said, I won a few 3 races in Goodyear Cup last weekend. Now I won once again. So yeah, I'm very happy, and I hope I will have more like this this weekend.
It looks good. Thank you very much, Theo. Good luck for the 2nd race. Yeah, and the 2nd race, we will be back at 3:55, and hope to see you then at 3:55. Bye-bye.